The Saints could have a stud at the wide receiver position that nobody around the National Football League is talking about. And I'm going to tell you what I mean and who I'm referring to here in today's video. Welcome into Saints Now by Chat Sports. As always, I'm your host, Trizzy Trace Girouard. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's content. Let's quickly take a look at the wide receiver depth chart because I want to first set the scene and lay out the context of what we're talking about in this video. We're not going to be discussing Chris Olave because I don't think that he's a player that is underrated. I think that he is a player that the National Football League is talking about. And Brandon Cooks, he's a nice veteran, been around the league for quite some time, has been a journeyman, if you will. And Rashid Shaheed, he's a little bit of a sleeper. Not too many people know about him, but I do see one name on this roster who does have a touchdown and is not really getting discussed by the big J national media, ESPNs, and all that good stuff of the world. We're going to talk about one of these players on screen, but I need to get you guys informed on how this sub-battle is going. I just need to ask, who's the better fan base? I know for a fact it's the New Orleans Saints fans, but for some reason, Browns fans think that they're way cooler. They think that they're the hot stuff, and they think that they're the best fan base here at Chat Sports. But I'm here to tell you it's Saints Now by Chat Sports, and it's Saints fans. And if you want to help me be right and you want to help prove that Saints fans are the best fan base in all of sports, I need you to hit the sub button today. We're losing to the Browns Report, and it's hard to make an argument that we're better than Browns fans if we have less subscribers. Now let's talk about the possible stud. I'm, of course, referring to Bub Means, a player that I deemed can't guard Bub because of the insanely similar characteristics and insanely similar measurements and athletic testing numbers and all of that Bub Means had to Michael Thomas, who I know a lot of y'all probably still have a number 13 jersey hanging up in your closet somewhere. And Bub Means is a very special player because not only is he a guy that hasn't really been highly covered by national media, he also hasn't really gotten too much attention as a Saints wide receiver, and I do think that he can provide a lot of different things to this wide receiver group. And for a wide receiver depth chart with a ton of speed and a ton of athleticism, this is a player who can provide size. He currently right now is the largest and biggest wide receiver on the depth chart at 6'2", 215 pounds. He even looks a little bit bigger. It looks like he put on some muscle, put on some weight over the summer. So I think that he is a player that is not only going to provide size, but also physicality to the wide receiver room. And he's growing as a route runner. That aspect of his game has developed, and you saw progression from when he was taking snaps at training camp and early into the summer versus whenever it eventually got to the later end or into the middle of the season, whenever, obviously he got hurt and we didn't get to see anything. But he had a really nice stretch there for a few weeks whenever the wide receiver room was dealing with injuries to Chris Olave and wide receiver. So Bub Means had to step up in a big way. He's also a very underrated aspect about his game is the speed. He's also a pretty solid run blocker. I don't want to get it twisted. He's a player that can get pretty physical and can get pretty active as a run blocker. I think that he is a player that can be a stud. He's a player like the title and like this thumbnail suggests for this video. He's a player that a lot of people are talking about, and I want to make sure that we do our due diligence and give him the opportunity to show off and shine this season, because I think that he is a special player, and there's a specific reasoning why I'm wanting to talk about Bub Means. Because, one, there's a big conversation around the Saints need an X receiver. They need somebody to operate over the middle. They need that big-bodied physical player. Well, maybe they don't. And hear me out. By no means am I showing you this graphic to try and sit here and convince you that Bub Means will turn into A.J. Brown. That could not be further from what I'm trying to tell you. What I am trying to tell you is look at the height. Look at the weight. Look at the 40-yard dash. Look at the vertical. Look at the relative athletic score. Look at these key measurements and these key aspects of these two individual players. And we can all address and we can all acknowledge that both of those two players are eerily similar. Coming out of the draft process, out of Pitt, Bub Means was compared a lot to A.J. Brown. So if I'm Kellen Moore, I don't actually think I need to hop too far in my time machine to figure out how do I learn or how do I utilize Bub Means the best way possible. Honestly, I look back to the player we just compared him to, A.J. Brown. And A.J. Brown had a phenomenal season with Kellen Moore being the play caller for the Philadelphia Eagles. In December, he was on the record saying he wants to find ways to get the ball to A.J. Brown more often. And guess what? They won a Super Bowl. Feels like they found more ways to get him the ball. And A.J. Brown had one of the best seasons, not statistically of his career, but he really came on and is now deemed himself and has now proven himself to be one of the top wide receivers in the National Football League. PFF saying he is the number one wide receiver in the league. He's one of the best wide receivers as in various different aspects and in various different routes. And I think you can utilize Bub Means similar to A.J. Brown. So if I'm Kellen Moore, I'm scheming up plays for Bub Means just like I did for A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown was super successful on slant routes and on go routes. One of the best in the National Football League in those two specific parts, or in those two specific routes, I should say. So for Bub Means, let's see him be utilized over the middle. Let's see him be used on go routes. Let's see him get work on slants. And, of course, there's the whole slant boy argument. There's the, Michael Thomas was slant boy, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, really don't give a shit. Michael Thomas had 1,700 yards when he was a slant boy. We can get 1,700 yards. Run all the fucking slants you want. And I'll say this, I think Bub Means does have a big season ahead of him, and I think that he is a player that could have a big year. And I think that, honestly, he might be more productive than us Saints fans are giving him credit for. Now, get in the comment section, who do you think will have more receiving yards? Will it be Bub Means, the younger player, or will it be Brandon Cooks, the older player? I think Brandon Cooks will have a large role, but Bub Means, I think, will be massive for the New Orleans Saints offense. And look, I think that this is a role that, quite frankly, he's been missing for quite some time now. And since Michael Thomas has been dealing with the injuries, and honestly, it's been since he's been dealing with the injuries, but even more so since he hasn't been on the Saints roster, because, reminder, he's not retired, they have been looking for someone to fulfill that role. They're not looking for somebody to replace Michael Thomas. They're looking for somebody to replace that role. The player that's going to operate over the middle, the player that can go and get those contested catches, the player that can take hits as running slants and be dangerous whenever he has the football in his hands. They need a player to fulfill not Michael Thomas, but the role. Not the production, but the way that he was utilized. And Bub Means, in my opinion, in his rookie season, looked pretty solid. He had some really, really good moments. First career touchdown was a pass against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers from Spencer Rattler. A really nice route, a really nice catch, got both feet in bounds, showed really nice concentration. And I think that he had some really, really good moments. But, of course, it was cut short due to injuries, and we really didn't get to see what he was capable of doing. But Bub Means has been very active throughout the summer. He was one of the first players to get work with Tyler Shuck this summer. He's been really, really taking it upon himself to try to grow in the summer, going from year one to year two. So, Bub Means, I want to say I am very, very excited to see you, my friend, play football this year, because I don't think most of the National Football League, especially when it comes to the media and the fans, have ever heard of Bub Means. So that's why I'm going to tell you to say the NFL is not ready for this player. The NFL has not at all, or is not prepared for what number 16 could potentially do with Kellen Moore calling the plays here. And I think that he has all of the tools and all of the makings for a really, really nice season in year two with Kellen Moore being his play caller. And honestly, again, let's talk about this quarterback conversation as we do pretty much every single video. Either Tyler Shuck is going to need a safety blanket, Bub Means could be that guy, or Spencer Rattler needs somebody as a safety blanket as well. Could be Bub Means, a player that he clearly already has familiarity and comfortability with. I think that it makes a lot of sense that Bub Means can be really, really successful this year. And so I want you to get down in the comment section for me, Saints fans. I personally have spent the last 10 minutes or so trying to sell you on why you should be excited for Bub Means, because I think that the New Orleans Saints have an absolute stud at the wide receiver position that nobody in the league is talking about. So type Bub if you want to see a big year from number 16. Who Dat Nation, I really do appreciate y'all for rocking and rolling with us. If you haven't ever tuned into one of our videos, well, I hope you enjoyed your first one ever. I'm currently on vacation at the time of filming this video, so if you guys want to get more coverage in between these videos, hit your boy up on social media. Check out what we got going on. I'm actually cooking dinner for us tonight, maybe last night, depending on whenever we put this video out. So Who Dat Nation, I hope to see y'all over on social media, and I hope to see y'all join the Golden Gang by subscribing today. Y'all stay golden, and we'll see you next time.